I wanted to measure your success as an employee, what matters most. Welcome to this week's live. Now, last year we made a lot of content, but this year we're going live every single week.
We go live every single week?
Yeah, dude, that's what we need to do to dominate this industry. Guys, follow us on every social platform, subscribe on YouTube. Now let's get into this week's episode and head into the studio. What's up, guys? I'm Kyle Milan. It's Tuesday, so that means what? That means it's time to make some content. Laura dragged me in here and said, oh, we got some replay. Dragged me in here and said, Kyle, I need you to talk about some sales stuff. So that's what I'm here to do. Whether you guys are new to this content or watch me every single week, if you're new to it, head over to YouTube, type in my name, hit subscribe, turn on notifications. We got over 2,000 videos talking about sales and marketing and everything in between, hoping that we can help you guys crush your goals this year, next year, every year after. We go live every week on YouTube and LinkedIn on Tuesdays. Whether we're talking about marketing, we're talking about sales, we're talking about what's happening with marketing tech, that's what we're here to do. So hopefully you guys get some value out of the content. Share it with somebody that you know. If you guys are a long-time watcher, or if you're watching this on replay, put a comment in the comment section below and let me know your questions. We're going to go through some content, take a break, and then go into questions, live Q&A, and as usual, just try and stump me with whatever your biggest problem is, and I'm here to help you out. So this week we're talking about basically, why does your sales process suck and why isn't it making you any money? There's so much to uncover here, but I'm going to break it into 5 bullet points up on the screen. Number 1, I think that this is probably the most important one, is going to be accountability. And I know what you're thinking. Dude, if you're a salesperson and you're watching this, I want you to remove your defensive techniques. Stop thinking that you're the best, because you're not. And if you're a manager, I want you to really look at your team here. Accountability. What does that mean? That means taking ownership for what you did or did not do. And this is a problem with salespeople all across the world. Does not matter your industry, does not matter what you're selling, does not matter how good you think you are or you actually are. Accountability is the number one issue. So what are we talking about with there? We're talking about, are they being held accountable, or do they hold themselves accountable? Everybody will tell. Nobody's going to answer the question. If I ask you in an interview, hey, do you hold yourself accountable? Everybody will say, yes, I do. I hold myself accountable. I'm my own worst critic. If you've heard that before, it's probably a bunch of BS, because people that actually do that, Laura, I don't know if you said that in an interview. It doesn't count for you. This is only salespeople. If you said that you're your own worst critic. Yeah, did you? Okay. But it doesn't count for creatives or anybody else. This is strictly, I'm talking about salespeople. If you're like, I'm my own worst critic. Yeah, I hold myself to a high standard. Of course, they're going to answer the question that way. What would they say? No, I don't hold myself to a high standard. Like, come on. It's ridiculous. So you have to figure out ways to hold them accountable to every aspect of their job. Some people look at this as micromanaging. I look at this as just grading performance and tracking results. If on the marketing side, we know that any decision has to be backed by data to support that decision. I think in general, in life, in business, that's what you have to do. You want to get rid of somebody, you got to support decisions with data. You want to bring somebody on, you got to support decisions with data. You have to prove the worth of it. You have to prove whatever it is in order to make that decision. And the only thing that you can prove that with is data. So holding the salespeople accountable, there are so many ways to do this, but you got to start with just some sort of report or dashboard. Let's break it into a couple categories. So if we break it into categories, number 1 is going to be the output. So that has to do with emails, calls, meetings, visits, etc. Right? That's like the sales. Let's see what this thing does. This thing is so weird, the way it like auto corrects my text. So that's talking about, what are they doing on a daily basis to create like the output of their efforts. You can call it outbound sales. You can call it sales activities. If you guys are HubSpot users, this is all under sales activities. You have to measure each one of those things at an individual level, and you have to put some sort of goal to it. So if I said, all in all, I want my salespeople to have a total output of sales activities on a weekly basis of 150 things, right? So if my number's 150, then how am I going to break that down? Is it 25 calls? Is it 10 meetings? Like, what is it? What you have to establish that first. You have to say, and this is, if you're a salesperson and your manager's not doing this, you need to be doing this, because I don't know how you could possibly measure your performance against the previous week or against your end result and your goals if you're not tracking this. So what is your output? How many LinkedIn connection requests did you send last week or on a weekly basis? How many calls did you make? How many meetings did you have? How many quotes did you send? How many deals did you bring in? How many leads did you get? All of that information has to be put into a report and broken down at that level. Now, depending on your CRM system, depending on how you're tracking it, that's going to dictate what it looks like. If you're a HubSpot user, super simple, super easy. You've got your activity types, and then you've got your outcomes and all that stuff. And you can say, I sent this person a LinkedIn connection request, I sent them a message, et cetera, et cetera. You could do some automation in the back end, and we can get into that in a separate video about how to do it, because I would need my computer and sharing my screen. But you have to track that data. So it's like, what is the output? Okay. And then on the flip side of it, what is the outcome? So if we say number one is the output, number two is the outcome, and that has to do with deals, quotes won / customers, revenue generated. Like that's the outcome of the output. We can call, let's just make up a name. This is going to be called the O squared, the O2. Get that oxygen. You got to have the output in order to get the outcome. I will be able to tie back any person's performance by just having those two sets of number. I can show you that if you don't have the output, you're not going to get the outcome. And I can show you that when you have the outcome, you put in the work on the front side. So salespeople all the time are like, dude, it's so slow. Dude, it's like, I don't have a lot of deals. I don't have a lot of opportunities. I'm not making a lot of money. I'm not getting a lot of commission. Right. Because your output is weak. And I've told salespeople here and salespeople in teams, what you do today does not directly affect tomorrow or today. It affects your pipeline in, depending on what it is that you're selling, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years down the road. So when you get to that point where things are slow and you don't have a lot of deals, it's because in the previous couple of months, or maybe 4 weeks or 3 weeks, you weren't putting in enough work. You weren't putting in enough effort. And the salespeople won't hold themselves typically accountable to that. No salesperson is going to come to you and be like, dude, I've been sucking. I know it. And here's what I'm going to do to fix it. And I'm holding myself accountable. And here's how I'm going to track it. And here's how I'm going to measure it. And here's what I'm going to report to you on a weekly basis in order to hold myself accountable. So you as a salesperson or you as a sales manager has to hold your team to that accountability standard. You set the goal. So with that accountability, the steps are going to be, number one, set goal. Very simple. Number two, measure it. How are you going to measure it? Are you going to be measuring it in HubSpot? Are you going to measure it in Salesforce? Are you going to be going through Tableau? Are you going to be doing it on a spreadsheet? Are you going to be doing it through some sort of third-party measurement system where you're tracking all your data? Does not matter what you're using, just matters that you're doing it. So you're going to set the goal, you're going to measure it, and then you're going to meet. And that meeting can be weekly, it could be monthly, it could be quarterly, but the more frequent that you meet, the better that you're holding your salesperson accountable. So if I said to a salesperson, hey, here's our goals. I want you to do this many calls, outbound emails, visits, trips, etc. I want you to quote this many deals as the output or the outcome of it. This many deals, this much revenue generated, this many quotes, etc. And this is what I want you to do on a weekly basis / monthly basis. And I'm going to meet with you twice a year to review it. Just think about how ridiculous that is. If I let you do it for 6 months and you suck and you're not doing it the right way, then it's a waste of 5 months. If I say I'm going to meet with you monthly, not as good as weekly, but better than twice a year. But if you get down to weekly, if you have a weekly touch base, a weekly one-on-one, a weekly sales meeting, a weekly dashboard review, whatever you want to call it, and these numbers and this data is clearly available, to everybody. That is how you're going to hold your salespeople accountable, because you're going to just like the data don't lie. And it could be like, oh, well, I forgot that I had to do that. Yeah. That excuse only works 2 times before it's like, you're just blowing smoke up my ass. But you've got the data up there. It doesn't lie. It shows, hey, this is what you did last week, man. What's up? You didn't send out enough of this. You didn't do enough of that. Oh, this is where the accountability comes in. Any excuse, any response other than you're right, I didn't do that, here's what I'm going to do better, is an excuse, because they're going to be removing their accountability from it. Like, oh yeah, I was going to, but I was traveling or I was so busy, et cetera, et cetera. Those are all excuses. Just if you're a salesperson, just say, yep, I didn't do it. I suck. Whatever you want to say, move on. This is what I'm going to make up for it this week, and then do it. So that first point, going back to it, accountability, looking at output versus outcome, and then set the goals, measure it, and meet frequently. All right, let's go over number 2 issue I see. Number 2 is questions. Questions/fact finding. I don't know how many times I have looked at deals, quotes I've approved, met with clients, sales teams, trained sales teams, ask all these questions. And it turns out that from the original conversation, your salesperson did not ask enough questions. They thought that they had a solution, but then they bring it to the manager, then they bring it to the engineering team, or then they bring it to somebody to approve it, somebody that's actually going to be creating whatever it is that you're selling, whether it's a service or selling the actual product. And it's like, wait a minute, you don't know the answers to these questions? How could you possibly provide them with pricing? Or wait a minute, you provide them with pricing, you sell SaaS and you've got a pricing for it, but you didn't tell them that they can't do this, and that, or you didn't ask them how many users they need, or you didn't ask them what type of integrations, connections you have to have. Without those questions, you can deliver a solution, but most likely what's going to happen is as soon as you start delivering that solution, the client's going to be like, this isn't what I signed up for, and they're going to leave. And then you get that churn rate of clients coming in and clients leaving out the back. So the importance of asking all of the questions, you want to understand everything that it is about their business, and then offer up the solution and provide all the information of exactly what you're going to do. Not just like rushing through it like, oh, I got to get this off to this person and I'm late. That's where you're going to get in trouble. Over the last 10 years, I can't even tell you how many clients we've brought through here where not enough questions were asked, not understanding the full scope, or maybe they didn't disclose everything about what it is that they do because we didn't ask the right questions. That happens, and then we're struggling to produce the results, whether it's month 3 or month 33. It's not working, or we have to make an adjustment. Hey, I know that the salesperson told you that we would do X, Y, and Z, but that's not really going to be effective for your business because of this new thing that came up that the salesperson knew and should have told you about, but they just forgot. And so therefore we're going to have to change how we're doing this to go this route. I've dealt with that. Fix this mic. I've dealt with this on the machinery side when I used to be in machinery sales. It's like I can quote you a machine and I can quote you with these options. But then when it gets into development of the actual product, or your product development team comes in and is like, I want to make this now. It's like, wait, you don't have these things that I need. I need these things on this machine to make this work. It's like, oh, sorry, man. We didn't really talk about that. That's going to be an extra $35,000. It's like, oh, shoot, that changes the scope of this. So if you're not asking enough questions up front and getting the full picture and putting yourself in the shoes of them from a strategy standpoint, from an execution standpoint, whatever it is that you sell, service or product, when they go to use it, is it going to live up to the expectations? Because you get one chance, like they say, you have one first impression. You get one chance to put your best foot forward and say, this is my solution for you. Meanwhile, everybody else, all your competition is doing the same thing. And they're going to look at you and look at everybody else and be like, well, these guys asked more questions, so they seem to know more information. They also provide me with a solution that I trust because they asked those questions. Therefore, I'm not going to go with your solution. And it's close lost. And then you're like, what happened? I don't know, dude. And then the salespeople go and like blame the potential customer. Like, oh, it's because they went with this person because of X, Y, and Z. No, most likely it's because you didn't do your job good enough. So you got to ask those questions. Number 3, let's draw another line. Number 3, if you guys agree with what I'm talking about here and you've seen this, put a comment in the comment section below and say I agree. If you disagree, let's fight it out in the comments and we'll fight it out live in the Q&A. Number 3, organization. Organization. This will kill your, is that how you spell that, Laura? Organization. Yeah. This will kill your sales process. This could be very well one of the top 2. I was debating when I made this list of these 5 things. I'm like, accountability's got to be number 1 because that just is, right? If you're not holding people accountable, you couldn't possibly fix anything. But between questions and organization, I'm like, I don't know. So I put organization number 3, could possibly be number 2. And what I mean by this is you have to have yourself organized. Look at your sales team. Look at yourself as a salesperson. How organized are you? Oh, my desk is clean. I got a whiteboard. I got my goals and all that stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is your data clean? Is your information clean? You better be using a CRM system. If you're not, you fail this organization side. So let's say you're using a CRM system, whatever it is, I don't care. Looking at your deals, your contacts, your leads, people are going after, how organized is that data? Is every area filled out that you can? You know how many contacts I come across, our stuff, client stuff, etc. The first name and last name aren't filled out because something got glitchy on the import, or the lead status, the life cycle stage. What their LinkedIn URL is for their profile, but you don't choose to put it into the CRM system. And it's like, Kyle, I don't have time for that, man. I'm out here closing deals. Baloney is what I have to say to that. Because this information is going to be important for not only for sales, but also for your marketing team. So I can look at anybody's CRM system and tell you if your salespeople are organized or not. You need to be meticulous with this information. And even if you're just going, like, I'm a hustler, man, I'm just going a million miles a minute. No, you're lazy and you don't have attention to detail and you're not putting the information in correctly because you just don't want to do it because it's a waste of time, in your opinion. But at a minimum, if I look at a deal in your CRM system and the deal doesn't have the contact owner, the thread, notes, recorded meetings, notes from those meetings, outcomes of those meetings, outreach records in it, and any more relevant information, a company attached to it, company profile attached to it, other contacts at the company. What is this person that you're talking to? Are they decision maker? Are they the influencer? If all that information is not in there, how could you possibly work that deal? If you don't have that information and you may be like, I know it, I just don't have it in the CRM. Baloney. You don't know it. You have to put in the CRM. Organization of contact records, outreach, notes from meetings, all of your meetings that you have, for the most part, if they're not in person, they're done through video, the recording of that video, the transcription of that video, your notes from your meeting from that video call in the CRM record. Oh no, I got it in my notebook right here. I don't type it in. That's a waste of time. Okay. That's old school. And the old school people that still refuse to put notes in a CRM system, you will be removed from the equation in the future by somebody younger that is willing to do that does place importance on it. That's just how it is. And I get that it's boring. I get that it's stupid. I get that it takes time, but it will save you because most of you, at least that I deal with, you don't have a fast sales cycle. It's not like you're selling a solution. They're like, yep, that's what I need. It's this much per month. Let's go for it. The ones that I talk to and work through issues with are the 3, 6, 9, 2-year long sales cycle where those notes are so important. So just put them in the CRM system. Organization, if I look at your CRM system and I see that it is not organized, I can 1000% guarantee you that your revenue will be like this. Okay. It'll be peaks and valleys. That's when you're at the top. The bottom is when you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You will be on a roller coaster of performance because you lack organization, and that kills sales processes. If you're not organized, how could you if you're not organized, how could you possibly know what to do next? I don't even know. Number 4, second to last, it's going to be the big FU, which stands for follow up. Follow up. Your salespeople don't follow up. If you're a salesperson, you're not following up. And I don't mean just like putting them in an email series that just goes like, hey, following up, looking to see what you guys have going on. looking to see what the feedback on the price is, want to see if this is still a solution for you. I'm talking about creative follow-up. So number one, have a follow-up process in place. How many times are you going to outreach them before you want to put some automation in? You know how many times we do this for clients? They have a pipeline, right? And this is like pipeline nurturing. This is what I call it. They have a pipeline and they have deals at different stages of the pipeline. But unless you have a very strict, diligent sales team, then they are going to the deals are going to reach a point in the pipeline and they're going to get forgotten about. And I'm going to look at it and be like, when's the last activity on this deal? Oh, it's been 2 months. And sales were, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Most likely they'll make an excuse because they're not holding themselves accountable. And they'll be like, no, they told me on a call, I think that we didn't need to follow up. Baloney. So I look at it, I'm like, I want to nurture those people. The salesperson sent the pricing, the salesperson asked for the meeting, the salesperson followed up after it. Let's say we just make a rule, it's 2 times. 2 times a salesperson following up, one with email/phone call, one without. After that, it goes to the marketing team to do some sort of automation to keep that thing going. People ghost install all the time. We're trying to prevent that. That's what marketing does. Give me that person back. Let me try and get them warm and nurtured again before I throw them back to you and say, hey, they're ready to have that next step in the sales process and have that conversation. But you got to have that follow-up. If you don't have tasks on your deals, if you don't have tasks on leads, if you go to a trade show and you get 115 leads at a booth and you put all those leads in the CRM and you're doing it the right way and you tag them with a trade show and you start working those leads and you don't have follow-up tasks after you reach out to them once, then they're not going to turn into a customer. There's a high likelihood. And then if you have a marketing team like us come in, we're like, hey, what's the last step with this? What are you guys doing? Why didn't you follow up with these? What's going to happen is the upper management is going to say, we're not doing that trade show anymore because I brought you guys leads and you didn't follow up with them. So why am I going to spend $60,000 or $600,000 on that trade show? So you got to have the follow-up in place. Whatever the rule is, however you want to do it personally for yourself or for your organization, if you're a sales leader, set those follow-up rules to where it's like, hey, I want you to try once an email phone call or twice, let's say, and then once on social. Connect with them on LinkedIn. You should have already done that when they became a lead. If you're in B2B, connect with them on LinkedIn, and then you can send them a message. Hey, just wanted to touch base. I just did that last week to like 6 people that were ghosting us. I think I got 4 out of the 6 back into engagement because I don't know if the email was delivered to their inbox. I don't know if it went into spam. So it's like the salesperson's following up an email. It shows sent, even if it shows open. I don't really know, like truly know if they opened it. But if it shows sent, like, dude, I don't even know if that was delivered. So I'm gonna try a different avenue. Oh, I gave them a phone. I called them on the phone. I left them a voicemail. They're not answering their phone, right? And so therefore, that's not really gonna work. They're not gonna listen to the voicemail. I don't know if they did. So I'm gonna go on LinkedIn, send them a connection request, send them a message. I can see if they read it and take a step from there. And last but certainly not least, number 5 is going to be drive. This is what I see with every single salesperson. Every single salesperson that starts out at a company or starts out in sales has the biggest drive. They're like, dude, I'm going to crush it. I'm going to kill this. What's your goals, man? Here's my goals. This is what I want to do in revenue. This is what I want to do in income. This is what I want to do in commission. These are the things that I want to do with that money once I get it. X, Y, and Z. They have all these goals and all this drive. And then as soon as they don't get the instant gratification, it starts to decrease. And then they get a win and it goes back up. And then they don't get some wins and it decreases. Sales is a game of consistency and persistence. And if you're doing the first 4 that I mentioned, this won't be an issue at all because you're always going to have that drive to go and get more. Now, if a salesperson loses the drive, and it could be because they're not getting deals because you guys suck as a company, it could be because they don't want to work here anymore, they're distracted from home, whatever it is. If a salesperson's drive is down, most likely it was never there to begin with. So like my drive in sales, I go up and down with like the day, but just the opportunity to sell something and solve a problem for somebody gives me the drive. It always has. And so I don't go from like doing a bunch of activity, kicking back on my phone, doing a bunch of activity, kicking back on my phone. I'm just going, right? It's like the tortoise and the hare. I'm just that in between. I'm not going to be like, I'm going to pound all these out right now. I'm just consistent every day, put in the work. I know I need to do it. And that's the difference between those that understand that sales is a long-term play and it's about persistency and consistency. And it's less about, I want to talk to one person today that's going to give me a deal that's going to sign and then I get that money. It's less about that. It's all about that consistency every single day. And if a salesperson doesn't have that, which you'll be able to see if you go back up, Go back up to number one, accountability. What is their output? What are they doing? How many emails are they doing? Calls, meetings are they having, visits? How much of that stuff are they doing? You'll be able to start to see it dip off and see it decline. And then you should be able to catch it and be like, dude, what's going on? Look at this trend that you're going through right now. So if you hold them accountable, then you can lift them up and keep them out of that. But going back to it, the drive, like I'll take any kid off the street to work at this company right now, or any company I've worked at, and anytime I've been in sales, I will take a kid off the street with drive versus some kid off the street with experience 6 days a week and twice on Sunday, just because I know that drive, if you have it, I can point you and steer you. If you really have it, like no BS have it. I've been told people have it. I have yet to meet. I have never been disappointed in my assumption that when somebody says I have drive, then I'm like, bullshit. You have drive right now. Once the going gets tough, you're not going to have it and you're going to fade off. Every single person that said that to me that they have drive, they don't. I've never met somebody that has actually done it consistently daily. I've met tons of people that say, oh yeah, they go up and down, like a week on, week off, 2 weeks on, they have a good month, 4 weeks on, and then it just starts to slip and they start to lose. And then, oh, I'm sick, or I'm traveling, or I'm on vacation, or I'm back from vacation, I'm tired, etc. I got problems at home, etc. Like all those excuses, all that noise. I've never met somebody that's just go, dude. Just go consistently every single day, put in that effort. Those people are the ones that produce the biggest results. Anybody else that doesn't do that, you'll have your wins, you'll have successes, but you will never, ever be the top because you lack that consistency and you lack that discipline to keep going. All right. So those are my top 5 things that will kill your sales process and make your sales revenue generation suck. We're going to take a short break, come back. Hopefully you got some questions. If not, then I will jump out of here. We'll be right back.
Hello, and welcome to the first annual Milan Media Race. Today, 12 contestants will be facing off to see just who is the fastest employee in the office. In a pre-selected bracket in a one-on-one race, each employee will face off against each other to see who moves on to the next round. The brackets are as follows. Round 1, Kyle versus Josh. Round 2, Regina versus Laura. Round 3, Anne versus Allie. Round 4, Christian versus Alex. Round 5, Trinity versus Mason Palmer. And round 6, Andrew versus Colin. That's all of them, right? From then on, it'll be winner against winner until we finally find out who is the fastest in the office.
All right, we're back. Laura said that there was a question from Tim. Let's get into it, Tim. I appreciate you joining this week's live.
How do you balance road warrior cold calling and phone cold calling?
How do you balance road warrior phone calling, cold calling? Okay, so road warrior going out there, pounding pavement, personal visits, cold visits versus cold calling. So what I would do is when it comes to personal visits, I export all of my contacts locations into a spreadsheet and I go to Google My Maps. And Tim, you've probably heard me say this before. I create my own map and I upload that spreadsheet and puts a little dot and a pin next to every single contact. And I find the areas with the most density. I say, okay, these people are worth visiting because I can hit a lot of people in one day, in one location. And then these other people, I'm going to have to plan that. So because I can't touch them right now, I'm going to put them on a call list. But if we're looking at breaking down a week, it all comes back to the effectiveness. So if cold visits are producing, let's say it's 25% effective to talk to somebody. And from that 25%, you get, 50% effective to actually quote something. So you're looking at 12.5% effectiveness of going from a lead, which is that person at that company, converting to an actual opportunity. So 12.5% conversion rate. And then from there, you look at it and you're like, are the right people, are these people that we're quoting that we go and personally visit, are we turning them into customers? Let's say that's a 50% success rate. Then you just got to work the numbers. and do the same thing on the phone. If you make 100 phone calls, and you can't just do this for like a week, you got to plan this out for like a month, because you got to have a big enough denominator to actually have it make sense. So if I was doing phone calls, I would say, hey, I want you to make 400 phone calls this month, 100 a week, which is nothing. You can knock out 100 phone calls in about 2.5, 3 hours, because most of the time you get the voicemail on the other line. You say your quick 10, 15-second voicemail. Hey, this is Tim Drinkwater with ABC Company, blah, 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 blah. Because of that, you can do it in about 2 to maybe 3 hours max. You can knock that out. So you could say, hey, Mondays or maybe Thursdays are my cold call days, and the other days I'm doing cold visits. It depends on the accountability of this person that's doing it. Do they have other roles where they have to deal with like account management stuff and house accounts, or are they strictly outbound? So in both scenarios, you just say like, I'm going to spend 1 day or 2 days pounding pavement. I'm going to spend 1 day, 1.5 days calling on the phone, and then just rack up those opportunities, the number of output that you have, and then look at the effectiveness. And then from there, it's just like placing a bet, right? I'm going to push my chips to the side that's going to give me the biggest return. But you got to be fluid with that. If you're not measuring it on a weekly, monthly basis, something can change. You can go into the summer and be like, oh, well, it's kind of seasonal, because in the summertime, we're less effective with cold visits and better on the phone. So you have to track all that stuff over like a year to determine your market, what you're selling, what's the most effective, and then make decisions from there. But initially, I would say test them both equally, split between the two. But there's nothing worse than I've had salespeople tell me all the time, like, dude, you know what we should do? Just give me a flyer. I'm going to go pass them out to people. Okay, do that. I'm down for it. Let's do it. And let's check the effectiveness. And if it doesn't produce anything, that didn't work. Move on. Do something else. Laura raised her hands up. That means she's got to go. And I have to leave in about 40 minutes to go take my third daughter to the dentist, to the ortho, to get her top braces put on. So I'm going to jump off. Guys, as always, thank you for joining live. If you have questions, you're watching this on replay, put them in the comment section below. My team is always watching, and we do engage with those after the show. Head over to YouTube, subscribe, turn on notifications. Don't forget to what is it? Subscribe to the podcast. Do you like subscribe to it?
Any podcast platform,
You just hit subscribe. Yeah, follow, subscribe to Your Marketing Sucks, which is the name of our podcast, on every single major podcast platform. And I'll see you guys next week.